Good evening and welcome to another edition of I Didn't Know That, presented by Stoffer Mortgage. I am Karaoke Bob, joined with Mike Stoffer. Tonight, very special conversation with Reiki practitioner Shannon Beery Yonker will join us here in just a minute. But right now, let's say hello to Mike Stoffer.
Hey, Bob.
Mike.
How are you? And are you doing well this evening, or are you still up in Iceland, frozen?
No, I've returned from Iceland, and things are looking greener all the time. Although, if you know, Iceland is green, and Greenland is actually ice.
That's very good, Bob. That's some very important information to have. You should always carry that with you.
Did you know that prior, or no?
Bob, I did not know that.
Which is the whole point of the show, to bring you things you didn't know and make your life a little better than it was when before it was 8 o'clock tonight. Welcome everyone that's in the Facebook chat. We'll say hello to everybody. Big Dave is here. Josh is here. And if you have any questions, make sure you get those in there, and then we will address them as soon as humanly possible.
Excellent. Before we bring Shannon on, our first guest, I wanted to do a little wrap up of last week when we had Sherry Morgan on, because she specifically said at your question, can I download apps to capture the spirit world? She said, absolutely, don't do it. And was it 20 minutes after the show, I get a text from you with an app that you wanted to download? Mm-hmm. And it's so great that not only do you never take direction from me, but I thought it was just me. It's from everybody. You take no direction from them.
It was really cool. I downloaded 2 apps, and both of those apps actually showed ghosts in the same spot of my room, which I thought was pretty interesting.
And after the sage burning incident, where all kinds of things broke in your house after burning sage, you just decided to just throw caution to the wind and just not listen to the professional and just open up a possible portal. Do I have that correct?
Which I have no idea how to close, because she didn't give me any directions to close it. But
and you wonder,
I would have had to pay for those.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing about our show. We're always willing to try something. And I think that's very important.
Yeah,
so
but I want to I'm not trying to get any demons through a portal or anything. I believe that any spirits that are in this house, since this house has only been owned by one family its entire history, that it's probably somebody in my family that I would want to talk to anyway. So I'm not all that concerned.
And obviously those relationships were a little touch and go, since that there were things that were breaking in your house as a result of burning the sage.
They have great senses of humor.
Because didn't you? Well, okay.
They weren't terrible things. I mean, I got them all fixed.
Wasn't it a refrigerator that broke down, and your air conditioning broke down, and your car broke down?
3 cars broke down.
Okay.
And
this in your
down, and the ice maker, but I fixed the ice maker myself.
Okay.
I ordered a new one and installed it, so I guess that's fixing. But probably saved a house call. I fixed the van. I didn't fix my car. I ended up I started to fix my car, broke it worse, and then had to pay somebody to fix it. But it's not bad.
This is your idea of a sense of humor.
Of course.
Okay, that's good. Well, I'll tell you what. I like to laugh without spending money and time in anxiety. Okay, I like to just go somewhere and have somebody, tickle my funny bone, as it were. I would prefer not to wonder why my ice maker's not working or why 3 cars aren't running. My
kids cleared that up for me. They went and started poking the ghosts of my grandparents.
So, Bob, we have another expert that you will probably not listen to that's going to join us this evening to talk about her field of specialty.
Shannon, don't listen to it. It's not true.
And we have with us Shannon Beery Yonker, who owns Align Body, Mind, and Spirit. Did I get that correct?
Yes, you did.
Excellent. So, Shannon, we're going to put you through a battery of questions this evening.
Awesome.
And you can be rest assured that Bob will listen to none of it. And he will do the opposite of what you suggest. Okay. Or, like probably don't try this at home. And you'll probably get a frantic phone call from Bob at some point.
Well, first off, Bob, did you open a window when you saged?
I didn't do the saging. Okay. I was against the saging, and my wife did. I wasn't here when the saging happened.
Okay.
We noticed that the sage had been. I noticed the sage had been burnt by the burnt stump that was on the dresser when I got home.
Right. Okay. So, just remember to open a window.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably a carbon monoxide threat. Yeah.
Well, you gotta let things out.
Oh, yeah.
Or they stir up in the house.
But I feel like spirits don't really need windows to I feel like they can get through them.
Bob, there are some things you should keep in though. Don't let everything out. Okay. But anyways, can we let's talk to Shannon.
Yes.
Shannon, so we were talking before in the green room before you came on.
Yeah.
And you are an energy balancer, energy healer. What is your proper title?
I don't know that there is an actual proper title with it.
Okay.
I work with energy around and in the body to help align it. By having you in balanced and aligned, then you can be good for what's coming at you in the rest of the world.
So, how do I know I'm out of alignment?
Oh, pains, aches.
Okay. Aches, pains. Okay.
Aches, pains, anxiety, just different things that are happening. You feel like you're in total chaos. Okay. Those different kind of things will create that imbalance in your body.
And so when something like that happens, now is this is this mostly a physical manifestation of what you're talking about? Of all of this?
A lot can be physical with it. Some of it manifests in pain. Obviously our emotions get trapped inside of us.
Right.
And then that starts to be painful. So with that energy that I use, then that can help clear that stuff out.
Clear that out. Because is it kind of like a blockage at that point? I mean, does your energy kind of get blocked in a certain area?
Yep.
And then you kind of release that?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
So I can help release it inside the body. I actually can help it release it in your buffer zone, your private bubble space. And then also a lot of times we get energy tails. So over the years, at 3, something tragic happened, at 5, something happened, whatever. As that tail gets longer, it kind of drags behind you as you go out your day. So if you think of your energy all stretched out and long, it's going to get really tired. But if you bring it all back into one, you can be powerful throughout your day.
So do you help, do you give strategies to your clients on how to channel that and be more powerful throughout your day as well?
Absolutely. Yep.
And so I wondered, I was writing something down while you were talking, private buffer zone.
Yes.
So what is a private buffer zone?
Okay. So we've all been taught to, when we're talking to somebody, you have that 3-foot space, right?
Right. I love my 3-foot space.
Your personal space, your bubble zone.
Right.
That is your energy zone. So our energy is 3 feet, sometimes more than that around us. So that's how some people can feel other people's energy. Some people can feel the fact that they might be anxiety-ridden, tired, in pain before they even say something about it.
So I touch base with you. Mm-hmm. I come in to see you.
Yeah.
I come in with whatever issue that I have. What is your process? What do you do? I mean, what talk me through the next steps.
So we would go ahead and just have a little conversation, find out what's going on. Then you lay down. I have a massage table. You lay down, fully clothed. Nobody has to take anything off. So for those people that are a little uncomfortable with a massage, This is totally clothed. You can cover with a blanket if you want to. You don't have to. And then you just lay down and rest. And I do the work. So I call upon the energy, and I call upon, your higher self and my higher self, and for the greatest good for my client on the table. And then there's light touch to the head. Sometimes light touch around the ears and the shoulders, on the ankles. And then I work in that energy field, in that aura, the bubble, your personal space, to bring stuff in. If we look at something and we see that there's an energy tail, then I'll actually work with somebody on bringing that forward.
So a couple of questions.
Sure.
Do you see the energy? I mean, because I've heard people say it gives off a certain aura. Are you able to see it? Oh, you feel it. Okay. So
Yes.
You feel it more than you see it.
Yes.
So what is an energy tail?
So an energy tail is your history. So here you are now, but throughout your history, you've had trauma, pain, whatever, something tragic that happened. Well, all that stuff gets stuck behind you. So you walk around with this huge energy tail.
And you're able to pick up on the energy tail.
Well, that we kind of talk about.
Okay, I was going to wonder, do we talk about that? So
yeah,
you have you consult, and I'm like, here's what's going on in my life, and then okay, and then when I'm lying on the table, you're able then to pick up on the energy.
Yes,
and you can do that through clothing, and even if I was like, I'm going to lay on the table and put a blanket over me, you can still pick that up. Wow, that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, do you have to be within a certain proximity? I mean, how you mentioned moving your hands over? Is that like?
I usually hover somewhere about this far off the body.
Okay.
When I'm working with that energy, but actually it works long distance. So if you wanted a session at home, we would talk on a video to get kind of in touch, make sure everything's okay. And you would just lay down at home in the chair, on the bed, whatever. I would do my thing here, and then we would connect when you got done. So it works by distance.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Now, something I find very fascinating about you is you are a nurse by trade.
Absolutely. Yeah, I am.
So you actually bring, because I imagine some people are saying, well, that's not formal medical training. You know what I mean? Right. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Oh yeah.
And so you kind of, what's really neat about you and in your background is you kind of gel those two together, which I think is a very interesting combination.
Yeah.
And has that I imagine that benefits you quite a bit.
It does. It helps me picture kind of where I'm at over the body. Because if there's tension or pain or different things, I can feel that in my hands. It'll pop or just feel tingly. So then I know, like, okay, this is where I need to stay for a little bit to let that energy settle and move into the body for that person.
Now, is this called Reiki then?
That part is Reiki. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of use a couple different things that I've been trained in, and I morph them together.
Okay.
So,
well, talk to me about those things that you're morphing together.
Well, I'm also trained in something called Access Consciousness, Access Bars. So that is actually something that's just on the head. So it's like a really nice head massage, but we have energy bands that run between 2 points. And in those bands is where you get stuck limitations, stuck ideas, stuck beliefs that kind of hold you up moving forward, or maybe it was a limitation that, you can't do that in your life, but you really want to do it anyway. So that helps clear the brain. It's kind of like a hard reset.
Okay. Are these Asian in origination?
So Reiki, yes. Reiki is Japan. It was I can't pronounce his name right, so I'm not going to do it justice. But Master Usui, he went on a 21-day crusade into the mountains. And when he came down, he was gifted this ability to help heal people with energy. He calls the energy life force energy, but then you have chi energy, and you also have prana, which are all similar of the same energy. It's just, energy of creation.
Is prana Indian?
I do believe so, yeah.
Okay. The reason why I ask this is I studied martial arts for about 3 years. And what you were talking about when you talk about gelling these things, it sounds like a martial art. You had Bruce Lee, who was Jeet Kune Do, which was just a melting of everything.
Right.
And rather than just Reiki, you are adding in these other practices, as it were, into what you do. Now, you also mentioned that you timeline regression.
Yes. And that is the tail.
Okay. That's the
so
tail.
that your timeline, you get regressed back here. So, like I said, if you had something tragic happened at 3, you fell off a bike and, hurt yourself pretty bad, that energy can get stuck there. So then you've walked around your whole life with this kind of oblonged energy. So
that's just fascinating. So what is what's the time? I imagine the timeline is different for each patient.
Absolutely.
Of getting rid of that. And I would imagine that would also be in direct proportion with how open the patient is to
100%.
Accepting that's the issue.
Right.
Because I know I talk to a lot of people and it's like, oh, I got this back and I was born with a bad back, or, what have you. And you have to have somebody that's willing to accept what you're talking about.
Absolutely. That's one of the main things, is acceptance that, there's something different, and also that it can be that easy. Sometimes it's enough to recognize it and bring it forward with you and let it go, and it's gone. And a lot of people have a hard time because they're like, oh, it can't be that easy, but it really is that easy.
It's kind of like, again, I take it back to the martial arts. When I studied martial arts, there were certain things that I had a really hard time learning. And I used to say, it's so easy, it's hard.
Right.
Because you just can't accept that it's really that simple.
Right. Well, we've been trained in school. Everything kind of seems hard.
Right. Right.
And so it's hard to understand that things can be simple.
Right.
Yeah.
And cognitive emotion therapy, what is that?
That is a therapy that we would work on that issue. So we recognize it in the timeline, we bring it forward, but then we go through cognitively with your mental, and we can recognize the harmful feelings attached, change those to something positive, and rewrite the story for it.
So the cognitive would be the logic mind.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, I see that. Would the tail would be the experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the
kind of like the spirit. Mm-hmm.
And then what the consciousness would be the emotional aspect of it.
Yep.
Okay. So I've always found that the logical mind is always way ahead of the emotional mind. Do you have that same? Do you see that same pattern?
I think it depends on if you're male or female, honestly.
Oh, really?
And I don't want to. I think females or I take that back. People that are highly sensitive, which they use their emotions forward. So they're reacting with their emotions first. Some people really use their logical mind, and so they can see it logically before emotions come in. So I guess it's not really male or female, but it kind of is in a way. But it's about balancing that in the body, because we all have those both sides.
Right. Well, men are trained not to be emotional, right? We're tough, we're men. So I have a lot of repressed emotions, probably from, from birth all the way through to just before we went on the air. Mostly thankful to Bob for the stuff right before on the air. So are you an hourly person? Is it something like we come in and see you and we a period of time?
Yep, it's about an hour. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sometimes an hour and a half, depends on what's going on, what we're in the middle of. but
Okay.
mostly it's an hour.
So how did you discover this? How did you know that you had this ability?
Well, I think as I was growing up, I always knew I had the ability to help calm people down, people and animals. I would just kind of naturally gravitate toward, and they would just kind of calm down. And then I always knew I wanted to help heal people, hence going into nursing. Once I found nursing, as I was going through it, things that were being done were just kind of settling a little uneasy. And so I started looking for other options. And those other options, I was led to take Reiki.
Okay.
And as I learned more about Reiki and more about the energy of the body, just different processes have kind of presented themselves. And I've taken a little bit, a little bit at a time.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
I'm sitting here. I'd put my glasses on to read what
Yeah.
some of our listeners have a question. Now, Steve Ingalls asks, what do you say to the doubters?
Well, it's not for everybody. And if they have doubts, you got to come try it. If it, nothing else, you're going to get a relaxing session and you get to walk out just be refreshed and relaxed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you bring up a really interesting point. Try it. And what I would like to do is I would like to send one of my correspondents out to you and have them experience.
Absolutely.
If you'd be willing to do that.
I would love
to have
that.
them come
Yeah.
out and experience what you do.
Yeah.
And I've got a correspondent that I know would be excellent at that, and we can videotape it and we can have it, and present it on the show at a later time. So you'd be willing to do that?
Absolutely. That'd be great.
That's
Yeah.
excellent. So, and if you want to if anybody wants to get in touch with you, do we just go to alignedbodymindspirit.com? What Bob has right up on the screen there?
You can go to that website. It has the different explanations of different things that I do. And then it has the location and how to book it, and my phone number's on there, and you can text me. Texting is probably the better way to get me. And then we can set up a time and go from there.
Well, Shannon, thank you very much for your time. This was really educational.
Well,
I learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
And we will be getting in touch with you to come out and do that. I can't wait to see how that goes. So
absolutely, I'd love it, and then I'd love to come back and share it with everybody.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, that was a really interesting segment, Bob. And absolutely. Shannon, I think now we're going to send one of our correspondents out. And I think it's really going to be great and have her back on, because I'm a believer in the energy. As I mentioned in the interview, I took martial arts for 3 years from a guy that I think I'm probably going to bring on here. He's in martial arts Hall of Fames around the world. His name is Rodney Kaufman. And he was all about the chi and the energy, and a lot of his self-defense and what he was doing was about the movement of energy. And the guy was effortless with it. I mean, just effortless.
And it's, if you really get to a place within yourself that you can feel it and start to understand that we are beings of energy. Anyway, like scientifically, we are electrical people. So,
right.
Just being, so like when you work in radio, you're dealing with frequencies and light waves and all those things. And you can't look at yourself as an electrical being and not think that you're beholden to those same scientific principles, and that you can't also communicate via those light waves and those electrical charges that are being generated in your brain. And I found that even, with people that I have very close relationships with, you get to the point where you have the same thought at the exact same time, and you stop looking at it like it's coincidence. It's because that communication is happening, faster than your brain can turn it into words. And I don't have any doubt in my mind that there are other people that can pick up on that, especially when you're dealing with touch and when you're dealing with that contact. It's like, I imagine it has to be like jumper cables with a car, right?
Yeah.
Where, once you create that path for that charge, for that energy to move, that's when you can get something else started that was prior to inert.
Yes. Now, Steve Ingalls brings up a really interesting question. He says martial arts is ultimately about punching someone in the face harder than they punch you, right?
Yeah, that's an energy transference, Steve. You're right on it.
And you are correct. That is an energy, Bob, you are correct. That is an energy transference. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I first met Master Kaufman, his first words out of his mouth were, "Why do you want to learn martial arts? Because if you want to use it to beat somebody up, I'm not teaching you."
Mm-hmm.
It's a sacred thing. And his line for self-defense was basically this: you want to put yourself in a position where you don't need to use self-defense. That's the best self-defense, where you put yourself in a position where you do not need to use it.
So that's inferring that the real training of martial arts is your mind, not your body.
Absolutely.
Because it's your mind that can keep you from a threat. I also have found through my own experience that it has really helped. I've never taken a karate class, but I've watched Karate Kid, and that has all my dance moves pretty much come from Mr. Miyagi. So like if I'm dancing,
from Rising Crane.
Yeah, the crane move is always the finisher. It's always the finisher. It's always to let people know you've come here to dance and you mean business. But just kind of in a regular groove, you can paint the flat fence, you can wax on, wax off, you can sand the floor, and all those moves work. Now,
the interesting thing about Mr. Kaufman is his style is called Nidio Kante, which translates to sticking hands, which was a melting pot of martial arts style. He had black belts, high degree black belts in everything: Hapkido, Taekwondo, Bojitsu, Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, he was just unpleasant to tangle with, to say the least. Now, Bob, something else that I wanted to share with you. You didn't notice while I was here. The mugs. The mugs are not here.
That's a prototype.
Okay, because Hawkeye Starlinky is unhappy with the mugs. Okay,
let's give me a close-up. Let me see why.
Well, she doesn't like the color.
What's wrong with the color?
She's not the Stoffer mortgage colors. Okay. She doesn't like the colors. And And something I didn't like, nothing on the other side, because the problem is I'm left-handed. I'm like Ziggy Stardust. I play it left hand.
Right.
And so when I'm sitting at home, I want to look at this. I can't see the logo. I don't know who to call if I need a mortgage or if I want to learn something.
What you need to do is like take from a lesson from this cup, which has something here, but I'm right-handed, so that's okay. But even if I'm left-handed, I usually don't use the handle. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you have a message for when you're drinking. And then
I can't read that. What does it say at the bottom?
Go
to hell, Mike. Is that what? Oh, yeah, there it is. Bob, we're running a clean show. Okay.
Yes, I didn't say anything bad.
Next up, we have another guest this evening.
We do,
right?
All right, let's strap in and see if this works. I always get nervous.
I don't blame you. Well, I get nervous every time I see Jared as well. So we have Mr. Jared. Hi, Jared. How are you?
Very good.
I see you failed to type your name in there, or is it just not showing up on?
I did before.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's just not coming through on the picture. So with us, we have Jared Gray. And if you saw us a couple weeks ago, you got to see an excellent presentation regarding wine. And we have asked Jared to be an ongoing contributor to the show, and he has graciously accepted. And so what we are doing now is we're going to give Jared a few minutes to talk about whatever he finds interesting about wine. So, Jared, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, first I have to ask, what's in that glass? What's in that coffee mug, Mike?
What I have in this coffee, I'll give you two guesses what's in this coffee mug.
Better not be wine.
It's not wine.
Okay, good.
Yes. If it was wine, it would be something from Home Buys on Whipple Avenue because they've got a guy out there that really knows what he's talking about. So what's your second guess?
It's probably tea.
No, it's water.
Oh, all right.
I have somebody in my life who watches everything I eat. So it's interesting. Everywhere I've got somebody in my life that watches everything that I do. I've got Hawkeye Starlinky on certain things with the business.
Where did this Hawkeye thing come?
Because she doesn't miss anything.
I'm putting my little aeration tool on my.
So, oh yeah, Bob's showing off. So, anyway, so Jared, you're asking me what I have, and I would not put wine in this because it is not the proper glass.
Correct. You did learn something.
No, I did not learn anything. I just learned not to argue with you when we're on. So go ahead, Jared. So what do you have? So talk to us about wine.
So I was thinking about this all week when we talked, and I was thinking, let's go back to the beginning. Let's get some information here. Let's get a good base so that, Mike, you can understand. I think Karaoke Bob's already got a great baseline here, and I think we'll just add to that. But if we can get you, Mike, to understand, then the rest of you viewers will be good as well. So,
Jared, I hate to say it, Jared. We just don't have enough time for that.
I'll keep it short, real short.
No, that's not an indictment on you. That is an indictment.
That was a shot at me, Jared.
That's right.
That's our.
I'm full of holes over here from all the shots I take. Right. Continue on.
So I kind of want to go over how old wine actually is, and then kind of go into something just real basic and kind of start building people's wine base. And, if they keep building it, they can have a lot of fun with it. They can be more comfortable when they go to parties or tastings or dinners, or, they are at a nice restaurant and they, might have something to order with their meal. So that's kind of the goal of this. But I'll kind of start from ancient times. So, yes, you're going to find wine in ancient times. There's a lot of evidence of this. Wine's been being made for 8,000, 9,000 years. There's evidence from ancient China, also from ancient Egypt. We read this in the Bible and other ancient texts. It was the Phoenicians that actually sort of spread winemaking, and they spread it to the Greeks. And the Greeks were the ones that spread it to the Romans. And then, from there, the Romans pretty much spread everything across the world by that point. So winemaking been around for, thousands of years. I will give a little bit of an American tidbit here. So Thomas Jefferson is known as the first American wine connoisseur. So he tried to grow a lot of European grapes here in the colonies or the early states in Virginia. He failed a couple times, but he's really kind of our first connoisseur, and he may have kind of pushed forward that interest here in America for wine growing. But aside from that, I kind of wanted to go through a question that I get a lot from my customers that are just getting into wine, and I get asked a lot, so what's the difference between a white, a red, and a pink wine? And the short answer is the skins. So if you're familiar with any of these wines, if you've drank a white, a red, or a rosé or a pink wine, the skins is the key element here. So the skins, when you take all those 1,300 grapes, we talked about it last time, there's about 1,300 grapes that you can use to make wine. Almost all grapes, if you squeeze the grape, clear juice will come through. There's a couple that have some color to it, but mostly clear. So if you want a red wine, what you do is you take the skins and the juice and you combine them together in the fermentation process, and the juice sucks the pigment out of the skins and also attributes to its flavor. Now, white wine, if you want a white wine, you can make white wine with any of the grapes, even if it's a white grape or red grape. You just don't use the skins. Now, a rosé, what you're going to do is you're going to use the same process as you make a red, but you don't do it as long. So those are the three main still wines: white, red, and rosé. And that's how you make them. You either don't use the skins for a white, you use the skins for a longer period for a red, or for a rosé, you use the skins for a short period of time, couple days tops, and you'll get some hue of a pink. And that's a little bit of tidbit there. That's kind of how wines, in short, made. And then later on, we can go through some other historic wines and get some more information for you to build a good base.
A couple questions for you. So just to summarize, red is skin, white is no skin, and rosé or pink is some skin.
Correct.
And the amount of skin obviously affects the taste.
Correct. So the longer you age or ferment the skins with the juice, the darker and deeper the red will get. Certain grapes are better for that than the others. The wines that Karaoke Bob is going to have this coming summer, the Pinot Noirs and the Gamay and the Zweigelts that we talked about, they're a little bit lighter. Yeah.
And I just want to point out, and this is thanks to you, Jared, when I went on my little wine trip after we talked, and when you were saying, when people say I don't like Chardonnays, they just haven't had enough Chardonnays yet. And I thought, well, Jared's talking right to me because I'm Mr. I don't like Chardonnays guy. So I made it a point on our tastings to get a Chardonnay in the flight. And there was one that I found that I really, really liked. And I bought a bottle and I brought it home. Not drinking it tonight.
Awesome. Very good.
Mm-hmm. And I would just like to point out our comment of the evening so far comes from Stephen Ingalls that says, and Bob, you had it up. Wow, I didn't know that.
That's right.
How perfect is that? I didn't know.
That's why we're here.
Yes, way to go. And
we find after 49 episodes, we have finally educated someone.
49. Jeez.
I don't even know what our episode number is.
I don't know either.
Probably like 12.
Jared, thank you so much. Great information.
Thanks for having me.
Melissa Seibert wants to know how Moscato is made.
So that's something that I was going to probably get into later on if we do any more guest appearances with me. But I can cover it real quick if you want.
Well, I'd say we. Yep.
Table
sure.
it.
Go ahead.
You want to table this wine?
We got table it. We're going
to table the wine.
You know what? I love Melissa Seibert because she brought us Sherry Morgan, Shannon Yonker. But you know what? We're gonna table this wine because we want to make sure Melissa comes back next week. So why don't we do a Moscato next week, Jared?
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll talk about different kinds of wine, some sweet wine like Moscato, and I'll kind of tell you a little bit, basically how they're made.
Excellent. Jared, we'll see you. We will see you next week and in many of the coming weeks, as you will be a regular. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so I do want to before we move on to our next guest, I would like to put this up from Melissa Seibert. Speaking about Shannon, she's a gentle soul, and I've known her a couple of years. She's so passionate about what she does, which we saw tonight. And she had to do a small relaxation. It was amazing. Felt so relaxed. Even had pain in her shoulder, and she got it to release. So wanted to make sure that we highlighted that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. And you can just kind of get a sense. I mean, that's good. I'm going to say, kind of your tabling of the Moscato to next week. You kind of got a sense of calm when Shannon was on. I just kind of had that feeling of confidence that, you just kind of go in there and she would be just very relaxing just to kind of be around. I mean, that's kind of what the aura that she kind of gave off. So, a couple other things, Bob, before we move on, as we, as you know, while I don't know what you're doing throughout the week, but I'm busy working on the show. Mm-hmm. And Jared, as we've said before, has agreed to come on and be a regular guest and contributor, which we are grateful for. I have locked in I'm trying to lock down a foreign correspondent.
Yes.
But the difficulty is this, I tried to get this foreign correspondent to contribute today, but she's turning out to be extremely temperamental and diva-ish. And of course, that foreign correspondent would be my daughter who lives in Belgium.
I was going to say it's probably an inherited trait.
You know what? I would not. I don't really know a lot about her mother's side of the family, but
I wasn't. You know what? Neither do I.
Right. So she's getting it from somewhere. It's not coming from me.
Oh, of course not. No.
So next we have Mark Seibert, who's going to come on, right?
That's right.
And Mark has found some very interesting things. There he is. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good. I'm doing good.
Your lighting's a little off. I'm just kidding you. It's I mean, you knew that, it's coming, right?
I did.
It's just probably going to be like one of our phone calls, which is always disjointed, confusing.
Yes.
But it's always a lot of fun.
Well,
at least it is for me.
Except for today's phone call. That was a little stressful.
Yeah.
I couldn't let you down though.
And by the way, Bob,
why was it a stressful phone call? I mean, all my phone calls with Mike are stressful.
So I answered,
but I'm like, yeah.
Do you want the truth or do you want Mark's version of why it was stressful?
Let's start. We'll start with Mark's first, and then we'll move on.
Go ahead, Mark. Let's hear it.
I actually think Bob knows the answer to this. So he does know that on this one. He's talked to you before on the phone. So I'm sure he has that answer.
Yeah. Well, let's hear your side.
My side is I'm gonna talk to Shannon and get her to give me some Reiki, because I seem to have this pain in my neck that just keeps. I can actually tell you when it happened if I look through my call log.
Bob called you today? Continue.
So what I'm doing now on this show is I am scouring Facebook Marketplace, looking for things, and this stuff is active. It's active as of right now, the taping of the show, which I realize we don't tape anymore. This is digital. But this is things that I didn't. What's that?
I said, and it's live.
And it's live. And these are things I didn't know. Hey,
Mark, I have to jump in very quickly before you get started, because I want to point out something to our viewers that you never did say. What the question? You never did answer the question.
I was having audio problems. Like this is not.
All right. Okay.
I was having cell phone problems earlier too.
Let the record show to everybody and to Bob that Mark was unable to answer the question. All right. So you went to the Facebook. I just want to make sure we had that all clear for the record.
Yeah,
so
we do.
You went to the marketplace, and you and I were having this conversation, and you just found some really great things.
This is stuff that, and there's some crazy stuff, but this is stuff that it's borderline insane. There's stuff on here that I didn't know that they could sell this stuff. And I don't know if Bob can bring some of this stuff up, and it doesn't matter. They're all crazy in its own aspect.
So what did you find?
Well, the number one thing, actually starting with number one, I didn't know if Bob was going to put these up on the screen first, or if I was.
You never know what's going to happen with Bob. You just got to keep rolling, Mark.
So let's go with the turkey. Can you get the turkey picture up on here?
Here we go.
I can't see it. So it's up on the screen right now?
It's up there. Yeah.
Okay. This one is this struck me as horrific. First of all, you better gobble it up before it's taken. The thing is, and look at the two chickens on the side. I mean, they're looking at this guy like, it sucks to be you. I mean, what a horrible thing to do. I mean, first of all, if you have a pet turkey, that's weird to begin with. But I mean, but then to dress it, and then to dress it like that.
To dress it like a cooked turkey.
Yeah.
Number one, when you see turkey Halloween costume, I assume it is a human dressed as a turkey, not a turkey dressed like Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
It's almost as horrific as putting a fried egg on a chicken sandwich.
Bob, put that image back up, because there were a couple other things on there that are just hilarious. Like, for instance, it says includes purchase protection.
Yeah,
that's good. But that's a Facebook thing. They guarantee that.
And and you have ships for $3 with USPS.
How did they have such a close relationship with this turkey that it allowed it to have a costume put on it?
It's budget friendly. It's under $20. I mean, it is $23 when it's shipped. So if you're having, the holidays are a tight time sometimes with money. This keeps it right in line with that. The next one that I thought was a little crazy. Now, again, these are actively on Facebook Marketplace, is the cat shirt. And now I found, now I have found lots of cat shirts, especially for men, because I use my time wisely.
Hey, you know what, Mark, that's not cat shirt. Let's just take the R out of shirt.
And you know what? This really struck me because it's making a point. I think this is saying that, hey, I'm confident. I'm a little adventurous. I would say a little playful. I mean, that might be a little bold there to say. But I mean, and again, very budget friendly. This is something that's not going to break the bank.
In all fairness, it's only half of a shirt.
but you got the long sleeves with the bare midriff. I mean, I've never seen that before.
Yes, it's perfect. So that one's
from the Cat Lady collection. Yes.
Yeah, the Cat Lady collection. So this is legit. This is on Facebook. There's people that actually buy this, I guess. But the next one, I guess we'll go right to the toilet seats. Either toilet seat.
Let's go with.
I thought this was great. It says it's in 3D, which I guess you can see that Santa is actually, he's in 3D.
He's
and how many times you go to people, and how many times you go to people's houses and you go to use the restroom and they're just not festive. This is really, I mean, I can't think of a better way to, jingle your bells than with this. It's festive. I'm sure that it's seasonal for hygiene purposes. You probably don't want to use this year round. But again, it's on, and it's not that expensive.
And I have a 13-year-old, and I don't know if you have 13-year-olds in your house, but look, that rug is not going to fare well with a 13-year-old in the house. I got to say, Mark, though, this next one's a gamble.
Yeah. Bob, I agree. And this is all around a bad deal on this one. Here's the thing. This is active. This is somebody from Alliance, Ohio. So this is, this is very neighborly. Wow. And if you're watching this show.
Obviously handcrafted, which is why you get the handcrafted price. Or is it handcrafted? Can
you imagine cleaning this? I mean, this is, and I bet you he lost a bet and he needs the money.
It's $225. That's not even close to budget friendly.
And no, this one did break the bank a little bit on this one. So
and you see that it's got a flush up there.
I was going to say, is that a flush that I see up there? Yeah.
It is a flush, yeah.
And I noticed there's no purchase protection for this one either.
No.
After all your chips are down, don't forget to flush.
So this is some of the stuff that's actively on Facebook and the marketplace.
Wow.
And $225. I mean, that's
That is definitely a bargain.
We have a question.
No, that's
No.
just that is a comment. Is that a poker pooper seat? Yes, Melissa Steiber. It is a poker pooper seat.
Yeah. So
Well, Mark, I really enjoyed that. That was just fantastic work. Even though you claimed that you knew you were going to come on a Tuesday, you just weren't
didn't know it was
sure
this Tuesday.
which Tuesday it was. Even though I had 3 conversations with him, and he told me each time that he was ready and he'd done a lot of research until today. And he said, "Is it this Tuesday? As
I'm
in
not gonna
today?"
win.
I didn't know
don't
which
even wanna
Tuesday
try
it
to.
was.
I don't know whether
So-
it's scissor kick or what with you.
So here's the deal,
I've-
Mark.
I've-
Here's the deal.
Okay.
Bob, I think you know this. Mark has agreed to be part of the show. He's going to be a regular. He wants to help us, do many things. I think you are going
Wind
to
up
be
in the
our.
pitch.
I think you're going to be our correspondent that goes out with Shannon, and she will do the Reiki with you, and we will videotape that for
All
the
right.
show.
Now we're sending a live crew. Am I going
A
to
live crew, but there's only going to be 2 of them.
It'll be Mike with his cell phone. Don't worry.
Well, Mark's got to
Nothing
go.
sounds creepier.
And by the way, Mark's got to go because he's got all my lighting. He won't give it back.
I did use that tonight to help light up. I was afraid of
your
Deidre.
lighting looks great. The camera looks good. It's all great.
Yeah, it's my lighting. That's why my lighting is in the toilet.
And I was able to
get one of those
Photoshop
toilets.
myself.
Yeah. And Mark's is so great because he's got my lighting. Now Deidre has a great question there, Bob, if you could bring that up.
All right. Yeah, let me give it. This one?
No.
Nope.
Next one down.
This one?
There's
Wait,
a
I
question.
like that
Yes. Mark the intern. Yeah. And so, Mark, thank you. We're grateful that you're going to be part of the show. You're going to make a fantastic addition to the show. And we give
I
you.
appreciate you making my decisions for me. I love it.
Well, sometimes you have to make.
Hey,
That's what I'm here
welcome
for.
to my
I
life.
make the decision.
Welcome to my life, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah. And you know what? You guys are both laughing. You're both smiling. And your lives are much happier. I learned from Mark Goldberg. Here's what I learned from Mark Goldberg when he was on The Dog Trainer. Remember what he said? Service dogs are happier dogs.
That hurts.
So
I'm not showing it on the outside then.
I'm not voting for you for president anymore.
hey, we got to rerun that episode, because I have found nobody that can meet my platform. Anyways, Sherry Morgan showed up. I don't know if Sherry saw the opening part where I was chastising Bob for not listening to you, Sherry, but I want to apologize for the entire show at I Didn't Know That. We are very sorry for Bob's actions. And we continue. I don't
think I opened a portal though. I think everything feels fine. But yeah, I just could not. I just couldn't not do it.
I know. You're that. Yep. That curiosity gets you.
Well, Mark, curiosity killed the cat shirt.
Right. Well, Mark, thank you very much for coming on the show. For coming on, I appreciate it. Also, thank you to Jared, of course, for excellent wine advice. Thank you to Shannon for her discussion on energy healing, and Melissa Seibert for a great job of finding Shannon. So thank you very much, Melissa. We appreciate everything that you've done.
Done a great job booking guests. Absolutely.
And once we can get Deidre Starlinky organized with the mugs, we will get mugs out to our guests. And I think we should get them to our loyal listeners as well.
I think so too.
Right? So,
of course.
And Bob, as always, thank you very much, because without you, this would just never happen. Without your patience and kindness and expertise, we would not be here tonight to be able to share this nonsense with everybody. So thank you, Bob.
Well, I love doing this with you, and as long as you want to do it, until I get bored, we'll keep doing it.
Which concerns me, which is why I got to keep coming up with new ideas to keep you engaged. So, Bob, like our relationship always is, you get the first word, and always the last word. So take us out.
Everybody, thanks for being with us. Thanks for joining us again. We are here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. for another episode of I Didn't Know That, presented by Stoffer Mortgage. Thank you to all our guests and all of our listeners. If you like what you saw and heard tonight, make sure you like and share it. Especially this episode. I think this one was really great. I really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did, but make sure you if you've got somebody in your midst that you know that would enjoy our program, please make sure and let them know. So we'll see you back here again next Tuesday night for another edition of I Didn't Know That. Have a good night, everybody.